Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cyberspace Virtual Reality YouTube channel. My name's Landon, this is my buddy Sean. We're here to give you some great insights into VR tech, VR industry, news, updates, games, whatever it is. So, if you've seen our videos before, hope you've liked them. If this is your first time, I hope you enjoy this one, and we hope you subscribe and become part of our community.
Yep. Today we want to talk about the Valve Index, but more specifically the next generation of the Valve Index. There hasn't been any news or anything from Steam or from Valve about their new hardware, and I don't know if they're going to release anything this year or even next year, but today we wanted to talk about, we're talking to Valve, right? Like, I hope, Gabe N sees this video and is like, oh, these guys are, Gabe Newell, he's the CEO, I think.
They said Gabe
N. Gabe N. Anyway, I hope that somebody at Valve sees this video and takes some notes, because this is what we want in the next generation.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Sean and I have been in the virtual reality industry with owning our own business with virtual reality equipment, parties, things like that. So we're very familiar with the tech. We're very familiar with virtual reality, with the games, with the market. Right. So we have a lot of interesting insights that a lot of people don't have.
Right, and not even necessarily like, oh, we've used all these headsets, but we've used VR in different applications, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? We know where the limitations are on like people that are getting introduced to it, where they feel uncomfortable. Go watch our video on how to make money with VR, because this is something that we did. We would take a VR headset to someone's house for a party and show them how to use it. We did corporate events. We started to do some VR tours with it, trying to do real estate tours. We talked with a bunch of real estate guys, and we're trying to figure out where that was feasible.
So when it comes to understanding the consumer, the virtual reality consumer, we have a lot of insight, because we've introduced VR to hundreds of people who have never tried it before. So we've heard what they've said. We've heard the pros that they felt, the cons.
We ran into all the problems.
Yes, oh gosh, all of them. It's so annoying. But we have we've got some cool credibility with that we're trying to apply in this YouTube channel. And with this specific video, we're going to apply those things that we've learned and we felt into what we would love to see out of the next generation of Index headset. Right?
A lot of people just love their Valve Index, right? Like, it blows a lot of other headsets out of the water in terms of
phenomenal. Resolution
was amazing when it came out. The refresh rate is awesome. The controllers are the best out there, in my opinion. It's a great, amazing headset that a lot of people love, and they better for $1,000. It's a pretty big price point. So, anyway, let's jump into it. What do you want to start with?
So, let's start with
the basics.
I guess the basics. Yeah, the basics. So, we've made a lot of videos comparing the Valve Index to the Quest 2, for example, or comparing the Index to the, what's the one we just did, the Reverb.
Yep.
And what the Valve Index has started to lose in, the category that it loses in right now, is resolution. Headsets are the newer ones are just better. By quite a bit, by a hefty amount. The new generation headsets are in the 2000s. They're like 4K displays, amazing.
Yep.
The Valve Index is trailed behind, so if and when they get to it, we want to see better screen resolution, and we want it to be the best of the market again. It's got to be one of those where a year and a half later, it's like, yeah, it's still the best.
Yep. So I would expect from Valve, I have high expectations. I want to see at least a 4K display, right? Like, I want to see at least 2000 by 2000 pixels per eye, somewhere in that range, and hopefully it's even higher. Obviously, that's going to make getting that high refresh rate kind of hard, and we're waiting for a little bit of the market on PC parts to drop so that they can really run that well, and not for just a crazy, ridiculous amount of money. I don't want to have to throw 3 graphics cards in my computer to run a VR headset, but maybe, money isn't an option, and you can run the Valve Index at that high refresh rate constantly.
Yeah, because in my opinion, if you're going to be the highest priced headset on the market, you better be the industry leader in every category, or at least the categories that really matter.
Exactly.
And this is one of those. So, and it was. When it came out, it was the industry leader with resolution, but it's been a bit, and it's not anymore. So when it comes out, it shouldn't have the minimum, it should be the maximum. It should be the new leader in that.
Yep.
Same thing with refresh rate. It actually is still the leader in refresh rate.
I would be totally fine if Valve didn't touch that. Just leave it at the 144. Nobody's computer is going to really push the limits on that. I mean, maybe a very select few, but they should spend the manufacturing cash somewhere else.
Yeah, they've already hit the industry. There's a reason that these new headsets aren't investing. They're staying at the industry standard of a 90 hertz refresh rate because that's all that people can really handle. Like like you said, it's a very niche, select people that have the computer that can really utilize the 144 refresh rate that the Index has. So they don't really need to expand in that category.
Yep.
But what's another one that they would need to?
My biggest concern. Now we'll save that for last. I have a huge concern with this headset on the next one. But right now, let's talk about the comfort.
Okay.
I hear like this headset's pretty comfortable. But I am a personal supporter of the Halo Band type setup that the Rift S kind of pioneered. I mean, well, there's other headsets with it, but the Rift S really implemented it well. Yeah. I think that headset was so easy to help people put on. We had the HTC Vive for a long time. The strap thing is awful. This is kind of the same thing, right? It puts all the pressure on your forehead, and that leaves that ring, okay? Now, a lot of you're like, oh, it's just a ring, it doesn't hurt or whatever, but when you're introducing new people to VR, specifically, like, I don't want to, like, be sexist, but specifically women, they come out of that and they see people, like, with this goggle face, and they're like, oh, I don't want to look like that, right? Like,
it's for people who are getting into the hobby and trying it out just at a friend's house, it's kind of nerve-wracking, like you kind of, it still has that foolish vibe to it, like people laugh at you, and that's what makes it fun. You have a fun time, people look silly, but it's amazing, it's an incredible experience. But there's barriers to entry there, like mentally, because people are like, I don't want to look like a fool.
Right. So. Like, I mean, I've put people from every walk of life into this thing, right? Like, I've put like construction workers in here.
80-year-olds,
like 80-year-olds, like single moms and 8-year-olds and all sorts of people.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that sometimes putting on a VR headset is really scary for people.
Oh, totally.
And if that, like, strapping them in thing is easier and simpler and quicker, it's more approachable. So I encourage people, if any manufacturer is watching this video, please have at least a solution that can add a Halo Band, right? Maybe your headset ships with just a normal strap, but please have a solution so that we can have
that's
that
definitely
band.
superior. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one for sure.
So,
do you want to talk about controllers? Have we talked about controllers?
We haven't talked about controllers. I love these controllers. I would be surprised if Valve didn't update them a little bit, but I think they're the best on the market. I can't imagine a better solution, really.
Do you think they might implement something like the Oculus Quest 2 is right now, where you can do
the hand tracking? Maybe.
Because that's cool. That's innovative.
Yeah, that is very innovative. And maybe it's like it's more of a glove that you put into the controller and you can like move your hands in there or something. That would be some next level VR tech. If it were to be created by a company as mainstream as Valve, then it would have the software support from the games on Steam, I believe. So, and I don't know if these fringe companies would really be able to really have the support necessary to make the software work with it, because I know there's a lot of solutions out there, but if they were to make it a little bit more commonplace like they did with these controllers where you can control each individual finger, a lot of games have embraced that, and I think it's really worth it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so the next thing that I'm feeling about talking about is it's got to be innovative. If they're coming out with the Index 2, it has got to have some innovation, things that other people are implementing. It has to have, but it has to do some things on its own too, some new things. It sets it apart.
For sure.
So one of the things that we're seeing that other people are starting to do that the Index should definitely hop on is the facial tracking. So we just watched a cool video about the Deca gear or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And they're implementing this facial recognition, facial tracking, so you could like talk and your mouth moves, your eyes move, like your eyebrows and things like that. It senses that. Really cool. So I would hope that the Index hops on that.
Yeah, just something like that at the very least.
Yeah.
For those of you who have played games like Rec Room or even VR Chat or Big Screen, the mouth movements, right? Like it's all fake, and the eye movements are like it's simulated, and it uses software to do that, not hardware. So it takes your voice and it's like, oh, they're making an O sound. Let's make it an O picture on the mouth. But it's really simple and rudimentary. But what we're saying is put a camera in the headset that looks at your face and then makes your avatar in VR do that same facial movement.
It's pretty cool, the video we saw about it. We just made a video about the Deca gear. So check that one out. I think you'll like it.
Yep.
See some of those things.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see some sort of like leg tracking system.
Okay.
A little bit better.
Thing too.
Maybe like a shoe. I don't something. Something to really make it a little bit more
even
immersive.
more immersive. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. And yeah, in terms of innovation, it's really on them. Like there's things that other people are doing that we can say, yeah, do that, Valve. But hey, Valve, do something that no one's doing. That's what we'd love to see. Like if you're gonna have the best of the best headset on the market, make it the best of the best in terms of innovation.
We'll talk about base stations in a minute, but if they were to like take their base station and make it so that it was almost like the Xbox Kinect, so that it tracked your whole body, like just from a station that you put in the room.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
Cool.
That's another. I'm just gonna throw ideas. These are free. Take them, Valve. Take them.
Yeah, we're not even gonna copyright them. No patents here.
You don't have to send me any money. I'll take it if you do, but you don't have to send me anything.
I'll take a handshake from Gay Ben or whatever.
Yeah.
That's all.
But anyway, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
So
anyways, on to the thing that you were really passionate about.
This is no headset that comes out these days that's taken seriously has base stations or tracking sensors or anything like that.
Old news.
It's old news. We had them at the beginning.
They were necessary then.
They drive me crazy. Okay, so I've used, like we talked about earlier, we've used this headset, or we've used VR in so many applications, and I can tell you right now that lighthouses were they were such a bit headache, right? Like we could have saved countless hours of just setting up and taking down those things just because of that. And obviously we're a little bit niche, right? We moved our headset around, but I believe that VR is meant to be shared. It's meant to be used in a public setting. Seeing people like play VR together is so fun, and having to move base stations, terrible.
Yeah, it's annoying.
So
yeah, when the Rift S came out with the camera tracking, I was like, wow, this will be awesome.
Yep.
So is that something you'd like to see then with the Index?
I'd like to see them drop the base stations unless, like I said earlier, unless they're using them for something other than just tracking the headset. I think we can do better.
Yeah, or at least make it an add-on option. Like, hey, if you want an even better tracking experience, upgrade and get our base stations, and it'll add on to the tracking. It'll make it better because that's what they claim, right? They claim that their tracking is on the best on the market, and that's why they still have the base stations. But it comes down to the point where it's like it's pretty much the same. Like I can't tell a difference. I'd rather just not have to set up base stations every time. So, anyways, there's that.
There's that.
So, anyway, there's a lot of cool things that Valve can do. Like I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure they're developing. They're in R&D right now and figuring it all out, and it's exciting. This headset is amazing. It's still worth buying.
Yep.
Definitely, especially if you have the budget and the PC to utilize it. But I think there's going to be some better stuff on the horizon. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but right now there's nothing out. So we'll see.
Yeah, but that's some of the things we expect. I'd love to hear some ideas in the comments. I'd love to see some awesome recommendations for Valve. Write a letter. Say, please do this. I'd love to see this. Or come up with some ideas. I think that that the VR community is pretty open and loves to like come up with new stuff and new creative ways to use virtual reality. Comment on what you'd like to see with the new Valve Index when it comes out. It might not even be called the Valve Index 2. It might be called something random. So the Valve Glossary, the Valve Table of Contents.
Yeah, that would be actually really funny. I doubt that though, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, like, comment, subscribe to Cyberspace VR, and we will see you next time. All right, I'm gonna leave that in. I think. The awkward.